With 2025 fast approaching, if you spend a lot of time on LinkedIn like I do, you've no doubt seen all the posts about get your vision board ready for the new year that everyone is making. And creating a vision board is a common practice in the business world. It's something you see a lot of high-performing individuals doing. If you ever listen to Michelle Williams' podcast, she talks about how she did vision boarding for years and still does, even though she was so successful in Destiny's Child. It's still a practice that she does to this day. And if you know me, you know I'm a very optimistic individual. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. It's simply how I was raised, and I truly believe you can accomplish great things no matter what your background was or what your circumstances have been. And really, a lot of my thinking comes from faith. I saw my mom do the impossible many times, and it just inspired me to really have this type of mindset and continue that way in my own life. Back in the day growing up, when I was a kid, we didn't have a car. We used to walk everywhere. I'm talking 4 to 5 hours back and forth around town and then back home. And one day my mom was like, you know what? I want to get an Astro van. I want to get a vehicle again. And what she did was she cut one out of a magazine and she put it on the wall. And so it was up there for a few months, and she would look at it and she would talk about it. And she was like, one day we're going to get that vehicle and, we're going to not have to walk everywhere anymore. And one day, we were walking down the street, we walked past somebody's house, and they had the exact Astro van that my mom had cut out and put on the wall. And so, we didn't really have the money for it, but my mom was like, all right, let's go check it out. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So we go and we knock on this lady's door, and she comes out the house. She shows us the van. She tells us about it, how much she wants for it, the fact that it doesn't have any problems. And, I'm thinking as a kid, we don't have the money for this. There's no way we're going to get this van. And so we leave, and my mom's like, I think that's our van. And I was like, how are we going to buy it? And she's like, Lord willing, if he wants us to have it, he's going to make a way. I was like, okay. So we go back the next day, and I don't know how it happened, but the lady gave my mom the keys. I'm like, what? And I imagine they must have worked out some sort of deal. But just like that, we had our van. And I was like, wow, that is amazing. And I would watch my mom do that for years, where she would cut things out of magazines, put them on the wall, put them all over the house, put them on the refrigerator, and she would claim them. Name it and claim it. And that really started getting into my head as a young man. And as I grew up, I started to do the same thing. One of the things that really helped reinforce this belief as well is my mom had us read a book by a guy named Norman Vincent Peale called The Power of Positive Thinking. And when you start reading books like that, when you're like, 8 and 9 years old and, you get older, you've already got a really great mindset in place for growth. And so she would have us read books like that. She would have us listen to like Tony Robbins seminars and all sorts of stuff. And it really helped my mindset get to what it is today. A lot of people would call it manifestation. I'm a Christian guy over here, so for me, I just call it faith. So skip forward a few years to 2001. I'm 15. All the kids my age love video games, and the Xbox was just about to drop. And I was like, you know what? I want this, gotta have one. Asked my mom, she said, I ain't buying you that, read a book. I'm like, okay. So then I was like, you know what? Let me reach out to my dad. And he was like, no, we can't do that this year. And I was like, oh man. And so my mom was like, if you want an Xbox, go get it yourself. I'm thinking to myself, how am I gonna get an Xbox? I'm a kid, I don't have a job, I don't have any money. How in the world am I going to get an Xbox? But you know what I did? I cut it out. For me, no was simply not an option. I was like, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I am going to get the money and buy myself an Xbox. And at the time, video game consoles were a lot cheaper. So it was around $300. And here I am, just a kid, not having a job, not having a paper route, not having anything. And I ended up saving all the money by the time it released in September. And the cool part about that story is not only did I save $300, I saved an extra $100. So I had $400. I had enough for taxes and enough to buy one new game. And, I was happy, I had my console, I was ready to play. But when I hooked it up to my TV, it didn't look that great. And I was like, oh man. And I didn't really understand that I needed to have a TV that was just as powerful as the console to really have that great image. And so what did I do? I cut it out. And so my mom just loved to explore. You know, we just drive around for hours, walk around for hours. We just go to different parts of towns, and he was always exposing us to something new. It was really cool. But one day we drove past this person's house in this really nice part of town, and they had a TV in the front yard with a sign on it that said free. And this was a nice TV. You know, I think it was like 25 inches, 30 inches. It was big. It looked fairly new. And the guy that had put the TV out was in his garage. And so I was like, Mom, stop. Look at that. And she's like, okay, let's check it out. And so we go, and we ask the guy that's in the garage, what's wrong with the TV? And this guy's like, I just bought a new one. There's nothing wrong with that TV. I was like, oh, okay. And so he's like, if you want it, take it. We took that TV. And just like that, I had my TV for my council. And that was my TV too. I went in my room. I was like, okay, all right, yeah. And this is all within the course of a year. I go from having 0 saved to getting my Xbox and a new TV. It was awesome. Fast forward a little bit to the time I was 18 years old. And I was really big on art. So ever since I was about 13 years old, I wanted to become a professional artist. It was a really big part of my life. And so on my vision board at the time, I had a professional drafting table, you know, an easel, all the tools, all the rulers, a light box, all the things that an artist would want. And I don't recall if it was my sister or if it was my mom, but one of them was hanging out on Craigslist and they were looking at all the ads on there and they were like, hey, this guy says he has to move immediately. Everything in his house must go. This dude was literally just giving away everything in his house for free. And so my mom was like, well, hey, let's go check it out. And so we get there. Lo and behold, this dude is an architect. And everything that I wanted, this guy literally had. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I can't take it with me. I gotta move. I gotta be out of this place. If you can take it, it's yours. If not, we're just gonna throw it out anyway. My mom was like, okay, let's go rent a U-Haul. And everything that I had cut out instantly became mine. It was awesome. I still have that drafting table. I still have that light box. I have all those tools. And I've since, of course, advanced. You know, I got an iPad Pro and all that stuff now. But the fact that happened was amazing. And as a kid, I believe part of it's like that childlike faith manifestation thing kind of working to show you that, you know, hey, this can truly happen for you if you believe. But I believe as we get older, hard work is a key factor in achieving and accomplishing what we want. And there's 2 key scriptures to think about. The first is faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. But then there's also the verse, faith without works is dead. And so I wouldn't just bank on cutting a bunch of things out and just posting it on the wall and hoping one day you'll get them. No, work towards it. Really work towards it. Work hard towards it. But believe that you're going to get them one day. Some people will try to play it off and be like, John, you're just lucky. It's just a coincidence. You just see these things that were already there because it's what you were focused on. And you know what? It is what I was focused on at the time. And I believed it was going to happen. I think different. And so the way I do vision boarding is step 1, get a physical board. I have like a 70-inch board sitting on an easel in my house. It's something that I see every single day. It's one of the first things I see when I wake up. I look at it, I look at my goals and things that I want to accomplish in my life. But put it on your wall, your fridge, your bathroom, wherever you know you're going to see it, so that way it's always on your mind. And there's actually multiple ways to do this. The background on your computer, your iPad, your phone, when your TV goes idle and it's just showing like a screensaver of some fish or something. No, change that out. Put up a photo or a slideshow of things that you want to accomplish in your life. Maybe it's somewhere you want to take a trip and you know you're trying to go over to Japan. And so you get that picture up there and it's the cherry blossom and the flowers are falling. Get visible. Now, I'm actually going to give some props over to Apple on this one. You can do this in Canva as well. But if you're an Apple user like I am, they have this app called Freeform. And on Freeform, it's this giant whiteboard where you're able to, you know, connect pictures and words and really put up what you want. And then you can like print it out or save it as an image, make it your background. I think it's pretty great. I have one on my iPad. I set it all up. I look at the vision, look at the goal, think about it for a little bit. Yeah. It's cool. Step 2 for me is categorize. And so I like to set things up by year. Short-term versus long-term goals. Do I want to accomplish it this year, next year, in 5 years? I have it all lined out. And that doesn't mean it's always going to happen in that order. I had a picture of Italy cut out, the Colosseum, Rome, on my wall from the time I was an adolescent. I would say probably 7 years old. It was just a dream that I wanted to go to Italy. That didn't actually happen until I was in my 20s, but you know what? It still happened. But yeah, don't get discouraged if it doesn't happen in the time frame that you set out for yourself. Just keep working towards it. On mine, I have different trips around the world that I want to take. I have different types of cars that I hope to own one day. Set it out and just keep working towards that goal. Number 3 is going to be get specific. Don't just say you want a car. Paint the picture. Okay, you want a car. What's the model? Oh, you want a Corvette? Okay. Well, if you want a Corvette, what's the color? Oh, okay, you want a rapid blue Corvette. What year was it made? Is it a coupe? Is it a convertible? Is it a Stingray? Get all your details laid out and then get that picture and put it on your board. When my mom decided she wanted that Astro van, she saw a van that was black with gray trim on it, and that's exactly what she wanted. It's exactly what we got. The more you're able to paint the vision in your mind, the more it's going to become a reality for you. And number 4 is going to be the fun arts and crafts part of it. Print out some pictures, high quality pictures. You know, you might have a printer at home, but if it's not color, go over to like Walgreens or CVS and then just print out some pictures. It's cheap. It's like, 50 cents, 80 cents. Get them in color and then post them up on your board. And then finally, number 5, and this is an important one, is don't just post it up and never look at it again. Keep it front of mind. Always try to visualize what you want to accomplish, what you want to achieve, and things that you want to get for your life. Think about actors. They're working towards their goal by doing the films and TV shows that we like, but they're constantly practicing their acceptance speech for when the day comes that they actually do win that award. And another example of this is if you know anyone that plays piano, you might see them with their fingers and they're doing this and they're doing this all the time. And you're like, okay, they play piano, they're just flexing. In reality, what I found out is a lot of times they're ghost practicing and visualizing it so when they're in front of an actual piano, they get it right. And like I said, I'm really big on mindset. So if you can see yourself as that first-time homeowner and you've printed out the house, it's got the nice big green front yard, nice backyard, 4 bedrooms, 2 stories, 2-car garage, the kitchen's nice, there's a walk-in closet, a fully detailed man cave inside your basement, a home office, a nursery that you're able to customize for that baby that you're hoping to have one day. If you're really able to visualize these things, the more likely it is to become a reality. And additionally, I rock with 3 other steps here. So first step, of course, for me is see the vision. That's the vision board. Number 2 is going to be write the vision. Again, Christian dude over here. And so there's another verse that says, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. And according to LinkedIn, it's been proven that when you write down your goals, you're 42% more likely to achieve them. And then number 3, my mom always used to drop this verse, but at the end of it, it says, call those things that be not as though they were. And so all this is great, but again, don't just hope things are going to happen. Don't just be lazy. Be intentional, just like I mentioned in my last video. As cool as things just happening seems, it's not magic. If you've got a dream or a desire or something you really want to accomplish, work towards it. Plans, details, consistency, faith, belief, taking risk, hard work, and intentionality all play a big factor. And one last thing I'll say is be careful who you share your dreams and goals with. So me and my friend Kaylee were talking to this guy recently, and he had started this business in a small town. And he did not know how to grow it. And he had a friend with him. And his friend, is the most negative guy. He's like, she don't know what she's talking about. She's just this pretty girl. And that's why she has money and this and that. But my friend's into marketing. And she really knows her stuff. And so she's trying to give this guy advice. And every time she would walk away, the friend would chime in with the most negative stuff. And all you need to do is this. And you just need to keep, working at your business. And you don't need to do any marketing or advertising. But he would tear down every idea that my friend was giving the other guy. And so I'm thinking to myself, this guy is not your friend. He doesn't really want to see you succeed. He just wants to see you continue to do the same things over and over again, probably because he can't see the vision for his own life. And if you're easily influenced, especially by a family member or a friend, those negative voices will plant disbelief in your heart. Over the years, I've had a lot of people tell me you can't do something and, that's not going to work out. And I hear it and I'm like, yeah, but if it's negative, it's just in one ear and out the other because I already know what I believe. But I will say, do be realistic with your goals. And so I listen to a lot of podcasts. One of my favorite ones is Money Wise. And I was listening to the story this morning about this guy who, when he was 30, he had a couple of $1,000s saved up, like $4,000 or $5,000. And now, he's 40. He's worth $150 million. You simply don't know what's going to happen. But if you keep working towards your goals, crazy things, amazing things can happen. A realistic goal, for instance, could be you want a Bugatti. Now, a Bugatti costs a couple $1 million. It seems out of reach right now. You've got like $100 in the bank. But again, you never know. It could happen. An unrealistic goal, however, is if you want to become the next king of England and your last name is not Edinburgh, you're not a child of Prince Charles and Camilla, and you're like, yeah, I want to be the next king of England. That's probably not going to happen. So do be realistic with things that you want. So that's my advice for vision boarding. I have been doing this for years as I simultaneously work towards my goals, and I've been having tremendous results. In my last video, I give advice on how you can accomplish work-life balance, to a certain extent. So if that's something you've been struggling with, go ahead and check that one out. And if you found value in today's video, like and subscribe like all your friends are doing, and I'll see you on the next one.